There are Phantom Panthers here in Indiana. I'm Ruby Ruse on location in Avon, Indiana to bring you the story.
If you would like to learn about fairy folklore, delve into modern fairy faith spirituality, and explore fun and fanciful fairy-themed events, please subscribe to Fairy Fortunes for new videos every Friday.
This is a phenomenon that doesn't just happen in Indiana. There have been sightings of black panther-like beings traversing the woods all over the United States. They've been seen in Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, of course, and also as far away as California. What people are reporting are these very large black cats. People are describing them as panthers, of jet black mountain lions. They are known to be extremely ferocious. There have been many reports of them jumping onto cars, going out on the roadways in front of cars. They do not seem to have any fear of humans. Now, what's interesting about the Phantom Panther phenomenon is that many of these areas do not even have a puma or mountain lion population. Mountain lions and pumas in the Indiana region were functionally extinct in the 1860s. So where are these enormous cat-like beings coming from? There's a huge timeline of events documenting instances of these beings. The first instance seems to be in 1877 with a woman named Mary Corain who was nearly mauled to death by a gigantic black cat. In 1908, there were several sightings in Gibson and Pike counties here in Indiana. In 1947, a policeman by the name of Lou Daniels sighted a black panther near Centerville, Indiana. But the year of the varmint, so named by a conservation officer known by the last name of Fath, was 1948. In that year, there were significant sightings of a black panther traversing all throughout Indiana. In the description box down below, I have linked not one but two fairly recent sightings, one in 2003 and another in 2005, of a distinctly large lion-like creature, too big to be a bobcat, traversing the woods in Indiana. With all creatures of cryptozoology, there are some mundane and plausible explanations for what might be occurring. The mountain lion has, in some noted cases, returned to some parts of Indiana, especially male mountain lions do traverse quite lengthy territories and will travel long distances in search of mates and food supplies. So it is not unreasonable to suggest that these mountain lions that are now returning to the Indiana area have some kind of new genetic mutation which causes a darker pigmentation. There are many different varieties of cats throughout the world, that there is a common genetic mutation in servals, in leopards, in jaguars that produce an all-black pigmentation to their fur. What we could be seeing here in Indiana is a case of genetic mutation. Perhaps this genetic mutation is making them more capable of surviving in their environment. The black pigmentation could allow them even more camouflage ability, especially at night. And so we may be seeing an outcropping of this genetic mutation because it has given those who possess it a distinct advantage in this environment. Another plausible explanation is that game wardens and conservation officers here in Indiana have observed that there is a thriving exotic pet trade here. So what could be happening is that these exotic pets are being released into the habitats to fend for themselves. But the most common explanation for the phantom cat phenomenon, not just here in Indiana, but throughout the United States where these beings are being seen, is a relationship to some kind of circus accident. That is actually a very plausible explanation for the state of Indiana. In 1918, Hammond, Indiana was host to one of the world's worst train accidents in history. The Hagenbeck-Wallace circus train was traveling from Michigan City on to Indiana. Back in 1819, the steam engine trains, it was very common for there to be small fires to happen on the rear train cars. So the circus train engineer threw on all of the emergency stops and stopped the train to deal with this fire. Unfortunately, an army train was coming behind them. Now, ordinarily, they would have seen the signals that the circus train had left for them. Unfortunately, the conductor of that army train had fallen asleep at the wheel and crashed into the Hagenbeck-Wallace circus train at a high rate of speed. The collision was so devastating it sounded like an explosion, and people reported in Hammond, Indiana that they could see the fire plumes from miles around. While there were no reports of any animals getting loose and escaping from the Hagenbeck-Wallace train, in fact, the fatalities associated with this event were significant and horrible. But it stands to reason that a few of the animals could have escaped and perhaps have been breeding here in the Indiana area since 1918. And while that is a plausible explanation, it doesn't explain everything that's happening here in Indiana. If truly the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus was responsible for the Black Panthers that are now here in Indiana, it does not justify the rest of the United States. So what exactly is going on in Indiana and across the United States with these Phantom Panther sightings? Why don't we just get to that rabbit in the room? The rabbit in the room is that, of course, you are on American Fae. And I think a plausible explanation for the cryptozoology creature known as the Phantom Panther of Indiana may in fact be the fairy cat, the cat she. Cat she's actually come to us from Scottish folklore. These creatures are supposed to be very aggressive, and in fact, most of our stories regarding the bad luck of domesticated black cats are from the tales of the Scottish cat she. The cat she was said to be a collector of souls. So if a member of your family had recently died, the Scottish people would gather and make sure to watch the body very carefully with numerous and lengthy wakes. Because if the cat she was able to take away the soul, they would keep the soul for themselves. There were many things that involved with keeping the cat she away. The cat she would be distracted by games being played at the wake, because it was believed that either the cat she would join in on the games or would be immersed in watching those games. Another thing is that the body was to be kept in a very cold room, because the cat she, like any other cat, likes the warmth of the fire. In addition to that, catnip was often sprinkled around the home. Another story related to the cat she is that it was believed that witches were these monstrous creatures. It was believed that a witch could turn herself into these large, mysterious panthers a total number of 8 times. On the 9th time, if the witch decided to become a cat she would be trapped in that form for all eternity. The cat she are described as monstrously large. They are either the size of dogs, or they can even grow to the size of a calf. They are also said to have a white patch on their chest to designate them as these mysterious cat she. And while none of the reports here in Indiana or throughout the United States have indicated that these mysterious Phantom Panthers that are being seen have the white patch on their chests, I do think that there is a distinct correlation between these two beings. The cat she is known to be aggressive and unafraid of humanity, which is exactly the phenomenon of the Black Panthers. These beings have no fear of humans or their human modes of transportation. And like the Cat She of Scotland, these creatures here in Indiana are mysterious. They appear and then they're gone. They have never been captured. People have reported firing weapons after these beings, and not a trace remains. There have been footprints sighted. Apparently, a cat footprint will leave claw marks. A canid creature, a coyote, a wolf, they do not leave the claw marks that cats do. So there have been numerous reports of cat footprints throughout Indiana, but that is all that remains of these mysterious creatures. So if you have seen one of these mysterious creatures, please leave it in the comments below. I'm sure that everyone here would want to know your story. And with that, have a magical day.